You see this? This is what makes me sleep at night. Trazodone. I've been on this for about, I don't know, 3 months now. After going 2 days, 2 nights without sleeping, when I was on my vacation in LA, trying to make it in the music biz, I'd rather die. I'd rather kill myself than go without sleep for 2 days, 2 nights again. But I take 2 50 milligram Trazodone tablets. One an hour before I go to bed and one when I go to bed. The doctor tried to put me on 100 milligram Trazodone, but for some reason when I take that one pill, I didn't get any sleep that night. I don't get it. And here's another thing that I don't understand. Before I take my first Trazodone, I do not have to go use the bathroom. My bladder's not filling up every 15-20 minutes. But the moment I take my first Trazodone, and then after I take my second Trazodone when I go to sleep, I'm getting up 4 or 5 times a night. He just keeps, he wouldn't use words. Why did he give man to pee like a racehorse? I do it in here right here because if I walk into the bathroom then that makes my blood circulate, then I have a hard time trying to go back to sleep. So I go to bed at 4 o'clock. There's probably sometimes it's around 5, 6, 7 when I finally go to bed. And I get up and I wake up 2 or 3 times before I'm ready to get up, between 12 and 1 o'clock. Now why should I not kill myself? Aside from the fact that I still got hope that things can get better in my life. I haven't got the guts to kill myself, but I can do something that could get me killed.
It seems to me that
something dangerous.
I find the argument
I'm sorry about the comment on racism, sexism, but don't you know that people like me hurt too? Guys hurt too.
And when my colleague here talked about the Jewish you say I'm not a Jew. Does that mean there are rules that are scientific rules that apply to Jews? Scientific rules that apply to another religion? I'm not qualified.
And as I get up, I feel a pull in my groin.
I'm always reminded
and it alternates between my groin and my low back.
There's a book called Cosmic Mechanics. And,
man, that chiropractor messed something up in me.
Try to read this mathematically difficult.
Or was it that new exercise I was trying to do?
Why is there no mention of God? I'm perfectly happy with that.
This right here, I bet you could kill my pain, but it'd come with one hell of a side effect. It'd kill me too.
You said at the beginning that science is willing to say we're wrong.
If only I knew for sure that there was a heaven, that it lasts forever and ever and ever. And I'd go there.
Yes, I'm just here to say that science is always.
And if I also knew I'd never make it in the music business,
eventually with the scriptures, and we are waiting for.
All I'd have to do is get the guts to pull the trigger, make sure I had it in the right spot, and I could end this pain.
I totally see that. This evening I have to send in a book manuscript which I'll send to the
Oh, so you know the gun's fake.
Called The Serpent's Promise. And the parallels between the two are
Don't believe it?
Yeah, I know.
Ow. That hurt my ears.
Hi, I'm Dr. John Kenworthy. Welcome to the short tutorial on your brain on anxiety and stress. It is essential to know how our brain responds to the stimuli which trigger an anxiety response so that you are equipped to deal appropriately with anxiety. Let me highlight the key areas of your brain that are involved, and then I will explain what happens inside the brain. The thalamus is the central hub for sights and sounds. The thalamus breaks down incoming visual cues by size, shape and colour, and auditory cues by volume and dissonance, and then signals the cortex. The cortex then gives raw sights and sounds meaning, enabling you to be conscious of what you are seeing and hearing. And I'll mention here that the prefrontal cortex is vital to turning off the anxiety response once the threat has passed. The amygdala is the emotional core of the brain, whose primary role is to trigger the fear response. Information passing through the amygdala is associated with an emotional significance. The bed nucleus of the stria terminals is particularly interesting when we discuss anxiety. While the amygdala sets off an immediate burst of fear, the BRST perpetuates the fear response, causing longer-term unease typical of anxiety. The locus ceruleus receives signals from the amygdala and initiates the classic anxiety response: rapid heartbeat, increased blood pressure, sweating, and pupil dilation. The hippocampus is your memory center, storing raw information from the senses, along with emotional baggage attached to the data by the amygdala. Now we know these key parts. What happens when we are anxious, stressed, or fearful? Anxiety, stress, and of course fear are triggered primarily through your senses. Sight and sound are first processed by the thalamus, filtering incoming cues and sent directly to the amygdala or to the cortex. Smell and touch go directly to the amygdala, bypassing the thalamus altogether. This is why smells often evoke very powerful memories or feelings. Any cues from your incoming senses that are associated with a threat in the amygdala, whether that threat is real or not, current or not, are immediately processed to trigger the fear response. This is the expressway. It happens before you consciously feel the fear. The hypothalamus and pituitary gland cause the adrenal glands to pump out high levels of the stress hormone cortisol. Too much cortisol short-circuits the cells of the hippocampus, making it difficult to organize the memory of a trauma or a stressful experience. Memories lose context and become fragmented. The body's sympathetic nervous system shifts into overdrive, causing the heart to beat faster, blood pressure to rise, and lungs to hyperventilate. Perspiration increases and the skin's nerve endings tingle, causing goosebumps. Your senses become hyper-alert, freezing you momentarily as you drink in every detail. Adrenaline floods to the muscles, preparing you to fight or run away. The brain shifts focus from digestion to focus on the potential dangers, sometimes causing evacuation of the digestive tract through urination, defecation, or vomiting. Heck, if you're about to be eaten as someone else's dinner, why bother digesting your own? Only after the fear response has been activated does the conscious mind kick in. Some sensory information takes a more thoughtful route from the thalamus to the cortex. The cortex decides whether the sensory information warrants a fear response. If the fear is a genuine threat in space and time, the cortex signals the amygdala to continue being on alert. Fear is a good, useful response essential to survival. However, anxiety is a fear of something that cannot be located in space and time. Most often, it is that indefinable something triggered initially by something real that you sense, but that in itself is not threatening, but it is associated with a fearful memory. And the bed nucleus of the stria terminals perpetuate that fear response. Anxiety is a real fear response for the individual feeling anxious, and anxiety can be debilitating for the sufferer. Now that you know how anxiety happens in your brain, we can pay attention to how we can deliberately use our prefrontal cortex to turn off an inappropriate anxiety response once a threat is